Ryan lived in the quiet corner of Station Helix 4, a place where people rarely knocked on doors and even more rarely asked for help. He liked it that way. His work as a repair engineer kept him busy all day, and in the evenings he preferred silence, a cup of hot tea, and the soft hum of machines that filled the small apartment he called home. Humans were known for being loud, bold, or adventurous across the galaxy, but Ryan was the opposite. He liked peace. He liked routine. He liked knowing nothing unexpected would happen when he walked through the hallway after a long day. But on this night, something changed his life in a way he didn't see coming. The knock was so soft he almost thought he imagined it. 3 tiny taps, barely enough to make sound over the drone of the air filters. He frowned, set his tea down, and listened. The knock came again, this time slightly stronger but still quiet, like someone was afraid of disturbing the air around them. He stood up slowly. No one ever came here. When he opened the door, he froze. A young alien woman stood in the hallway, trembling lightly as though she had walked through a storm only she could feel. Her clothes were simple and dusty, her hair slightly tangled, and her eyes, large and silver like soft metal, looked up at him with fear and hope mixed together. She held nothing in her hands except a small, cracked translator device that blinked with a broken signal. For a second, she couldn't speak. Her lips parted, closed again, and then she whispered in a voice so soft and fragile he almost leaned forward just to catch the words. "I can cook," she said. "I can clean. I can be quiet. Please, please don't send me away." Ryan blinked, confused. He had expected someone asking for directions, or maybe a courier at the wrong door. Not this. Not a trembling woman whispering like she was afraid her own words would betray her. She lowered her eyes as if she expected him to close the door in her face, as if this was not the first time someone had. Ryan's voice came slowly. "Are you all right?" She nodded weakly, though it was clear she was anything but fine. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't eaten properly in days. Her breathing was unsteady, and a faint glow under her skin flickered, something unique to her species, the Cathari. Ryan recognized it. He had seen Cathari before, but never this close. They were gentle people, sensitive to energy fields, and known for their soft voices. But they were also refugees now, scattered across space after their homeworld was destroyed by an asteroid impact 2 cycles ago. "What happened to you?" Ryan asked, his tone softening. She held up her broken translator. I have nowhere else to go. I only need a place for one night. I will not cause trouble. I can be useful. I can—" "You don't have to list tasks," he interrupted gently. "Come inside first." She stared at him, confused, as if no one had ever said that to her before. Her eyes glistened with emotion she tried to hide. Slowly, almost cautiously, she stepped inside his apartment. The door slid shut behind her with its usual soft hiss. She stood still for a moment, looking around at the neat shelves, the small workbench filled with tools, and the warm yellow lights. Her trembling eased a little. But she still held her broken translator like a shield. "My name is Ryan," he said. She hesitated. "Lyra." He offered her a seat, but she refused at first, saying, "I do not want to dirty anything." Ryan shook his head. "Sit. You look exhausted." She lowered herself into the chair like someone trying not to take up space. When he handed her a cup of warm broth from his food unit, she held it with both hands as if it were priceless. She took slow sips, her body relaxing with each swallow. After a few minutes, her voice steadied enough for her to speak. "I have been turned away many times," she said slowly. "I thought maybe a human might listen." "Why me?" he asked. "You live far from others," she whispered. "People say you are quiet. Humans like you don't push others away so quickly." Ryan didn't know how to respond to that. He sat across from her, studying the cracks on her translator. "Let me fix this." Lyra almost dropped it in surprise. You would repair something for me?" "It will bother me if I don't," he said simply, which made her blink in confusion again. He placed the small device on his desk and opened it with careful hands. It was old, water-damaged, and clearly handled by someone who tried to protect it, but didn't know how. While he adjusted the circuits, Lyra watched him like she was watching a miracle. No one had helped her in a long time. That much was clear. As he worked, she spoke again, but this time her voice was even quieter. "If you want me to leave after you fix it, I will go." "You can stay tonight," Ryan said. "We can decide the rest tomorrow." She nodded slowly, relief washing over her face. She took another sip of broth, then another, until the bowl was empty. When he gave her more, she didn't refuse. Ryan set the repaired translator on the table. It flickered once, then glowed steady. Her eyes widened. "You fixed it?" "Wasn't too broken," he said, though it had taken more effort than he admitted. Lyra pressed the translator to her chest as if it were a treasure. "Thank you." Then something strange happened. The lights in the room flickered, not the usual station flicker, but a soft pulse that moved through the air like warm breath. The tools on his desk vibrated slightly. For a moment, the entire apartment hummed with calm energy. Ryan frowned. "That's odd." Lyra's glow brightened under her skin. She covered her face quickly. "I'm sorry. Sometimes when I feel safe, it reacts. I will control it, I promise." "It's all right," Ryan said, surprised but not alarmed. But the station sensors outside his apartment glitched at the same moment. A faint red light blinked, then vanished. Ryan didn't notice. Lyra didn't notice either. But something in the system recognized her energy signature, something that would matter later. After she finished eating, Ryan prepared the sofa for her. She watched him carefully, unsure why he was being kind without asking anything in return. "You didn't tell me why you came here," he said gently. Lyra lowered her head. "I lost my home. I lost my group. And I don't want to be alone anymore. I can work. I don't need much. Only a place where I'm not unwanted." Ryan felt something tighten in his chest. She wasn't dramatic or demanding. She was simply tired. Tired of doors closing. Tired of people turning away. Tired of proving she deserved to exist. "You're not unwanted here," he said. Those words made her eyes shine. She sat down on the sofa, still holding the translator like a lifeline. "Sleep," he said. "You're safe tonight." She lay down slowly, curling into the blanket he placed over her. Her trembling stopped at last. Within minutes, her breathing became steady, and her glow softened to a faint silver warmth that lit the room like a candle. Just before she fell completely asleep, she whispered through half-closed eyes, "Thank you, human." Ryan watched her for a moment, unsure why those words felt heavier than anything he had heard in a long time. He turned off the extra lights and walked toward his bedroom. But as he left the room, the sensors flickered again outside his apartment. A soft pulse ran through the station systems, almost like they were responding to her presence. Ryan didn't notice. He only knew his quiet life had shifted, though he didn't understand how much yet. Inside the living room, Lyra slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. The faint glow of her skin warmed the space, and the machines around her hummed in perfect harmony, as if welcoming her without knowing why. Rion paused at his doorway and looked back one more time. He didn't know her story. He didn't know why she was so afraid, and he didn't know why her presence made the apartment feel strangely alive. But he knew one thing with complete certainty. Opening the door had been the right choice. Whatever came tomorrow, he would deal with it. For now, the quiet of his room felt different. Not empty, not lonely. Something small but important had changed, and he could feel it even if he couldn't explain it. Behind him, the sleeping alien woman whispered something in a dream, soft and impossible to understand. And somehow Ryan felt his life beginning to shift in ways he couldn't imagine. Ryan woke earlier than usual the next morning. He wasn't sure why. Maybe it was the quiet shift in the air, or the strange new feeling that someone else was inside his home. He wasn't used to that. For years, his mornings had been exactly the same. Wake up, make tea, check repair schedules, and leave for work. But today his steps felt slower, as if his mind kept reminding him that a tired, frightened alien woman was sleeping just a few feet away. He opened his door gently and looked into the living room. Lyra was sitting up on the sofa, hugging the blanket around her. She looked startled when she saw him, as if she had been awake for hours and didn't know what to do with herself. "You're up early," Ryan said quietly. Lyra lowered her head. I thought I should clean before you woke." "You don't have to do that," he said. "You don't owe me anything." She blinked, puzzled in a way that showed she wasn't used to such words. Her hands tightened on the blanket. "I want to be helpful. If I stay, even for one day, I should do something." "You stayed because you needed safety," he replied. "That's enough." She looked at him as if she didn't fully believe that safety could ever be simple. Before she could speak again, her stomach made a small sound. She froze in embarrassment. "Breakfast first," Ryan said. "Then we talk." He prepared a simple meal: warm bread, fruit slices, and a mild nutrient drink. Lyra watched him as if he were performing a complex ritual. When he handed her a plate, she hesitated. "You can eat," he said. She nodded, taking small bites at first. When she realized it was allowed, truly allowed, she ate normally, though always politely, as if she was afraid of appearing greedy. Ryan noticed she enjoyed the fruit the most. Her silver eyes softened with each bite. After breakfast, Lyra stood up quickly. "Let me clean. Please. I want to." Ryan sighed but let her help. She cleaned with careful dedication, touching everything lightly as though afraid something might break. It was clear she had lived with people who expected perfection from her. Every movement carried silent fear, fear of displeasing someone, fear of being told she wasn't enough. "You don't need to be so careful," Ryan said as she wiped the table. "It's better to be careful," she whispered. Ryan didn't argue. He let her work at her own pace, but he watched her closely, understanding more than she realized. While she cleaned, he checked the station status on a small screen. For a moment he paused. Energy patterns around his apartment sector looked unusual. Nothing dangerous, but strange enough to catch his eye. The readings aligned almost perfectly with the time Lyra fell asleep the previous night. He frowned, but didn't mention it yet. Lyra finished cleaning and stood uncertainly. "Is this fine?" "Yes," he said. "Thank you." She relaxed just a little, though he could tell she didn't know what to do next. Her fingers moved nervously around the edge of her sleeve, a gesture that seemed like a habit formed by years of tension. "You don't need to stand still," he said. "Sit. Rest. I don't want to seem lazy." "You survived a lot," he replied softly. "Rest is not laziness." His voice must have carried something warm, because she finally sat down at the table, folding her hands carefully on her lap. "Lyra," he said, sitting across from her, "you can stay longer than one night if you need to." Her breath caught. She looked at him with shock that seemed almost painful. You mean it?" "Yes." Her eyes shimmered, but she quickly looked away so he wouldn't see. "Thank you. I won't cause trouble, I promise." "You're not trouble," he said. She didn't answer, but her shoulders softened. As the morning passed, she asked questions about the tools on his desk, the machines in the apartment, and how humans used certain things. At one point, her hand brushed against a device with a loose wire, and the machine suddenly hummed into perfect alignment, not just repaired, but improved. Ryan stared. "How did you do that?" Lyra pulled her hand back instantly. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch." "Calm down," he said gently. "I'm not angry. I just want to understand." She hesitated for a long moment before answering in a whisper. "My people. We connect with devices through our energy fields. Only a little. I don't control it well. That explains the lights last night." She flinched. "I didn't mean to disturb your home." "You didn't disturb anything," he said. "You stabilized the whole place." Lyra stared at him with wide eyes. "You're not upset?" "Why would I be?" She didn't know how to reply. It was clear she had spent too much time around people who treated her gifts like problems. Just then, the door chime beeped, the sound of the station administrator doing routine rounds. Lyra's entire body tensed instantly. Her breath quickened and her hands trembled. "What's wrong?" Ryan asked gently. I can't talk to them. Please don't let them take me." "No one is taking you," he said calmly. But she backed away until her shoulders hit the wall, as though expecting the worst. Ryan walked to the door. When it opened, Administrator Kellen stood outside with a scanner pad. He was a tall, multi-eyed alien with a serious face, but a polite tone. "Ryan," Kellen said, "just doing a routine check. There were some small energy fluctuations in this sector last night. Is everything functioning?" "All good here," Ryan replied. Kellen's eyes scanned the apartment interior behind him. One pair of eyes narrowed slightly. "You have a guest?" Lyra froze completely. Ryan didn't hesitate. "Yes, she's under my care." The administrator paused. Humans rarely use that phrase unless they meant it very seriously. It was a protective declaration, one that other species treated with unusual respect. Kellen lowered his scanner. "Very well. If she is under your care, I will mark her as granted private refuge for now. If you need assistance or provisions, let me know." "Thank you," Ryan said. The administrator left without further questions. The door slid shut. Lyra stood there with tears in her eyes, not from sadness, but from a kind of shock that broke Ryan's heart a little. You protected me," she whispered. "You told him I am under your care." "Because you are," Ryan said simply. "No one here will trouble you." Lyra lifted a hand to her chest, as if trying to steady her own heartbeat. "No one ever stood in front of me before. You deserve someone to." She looked at him then, really looked, like she was seeing him for the first time as more than a stranger who offered her a place to sleep. Something deep and warm settled behind her eyes, a kind of fragile trust that she had been afraid to give anyone. Ryan walked to his workbench and sat down, pretending to adjust tools so she wouldn't feel watched. But he could feel her watching him, her breathing slow and grateful. "You don't need to be quiet here," he said after a moment. "You can talk, ask questions, move around freely." "I thought humans prefer silence." "Some do," he said. "I like quiet moments. But that doesn't mean I want silence from people who live with me." Her lips curved into a small smile, her first real smile. It wasn't big, but it was sincere, soft and careful, like everything else she did. As the day went on, Ryan taught her basic things about the apartment: how to adjust temperature, how to request simple meals from the food unit, how to use the hollow screen. She learned quickly, moving with graceful curiosity. Sometimes her energy field flickered gently when she touched a device, aligning small circuits without trying. Rion noticed every time but didn't comment unless she looked confused. He wanted her to feel normal, not watched like a tool. Later in the afternoon, she sat cross-legged on the floor near the window, letting the station lights fall across her silver eyes. "Ryan? Yes? Why are you helping me? You don't know me. I don't have anything to offer." "You offered honesty," he said. "You asked for help. That's enough." Her voice became soft. "I thought asking for help made me a burden." "It doesn't. It makes you brave." Her eyes warmed, and her glow pulsed faintly again, but this time with calm energy rather than fear. By evening, she cooked a small meal. Very simple, just vegetables warmed with light seasoning, but she presented it as if it were the most important thing she could do to repay him. "It's good," Ryan said after tasting it. Lyra's shoulders relaxed. "I'm glad." They ate together in calm silence. Not uncomfortable silence, but peaceful, shared silence. For the first time, Lyra did not seem frightened of each breath she took. After dinner, she sat quietly on the sofa while Ryan repaired a small control panel. At one point, she spoke again. "Ryan, if I stay, will it bother you?" "No," he said without looking up. "You make the place feel alive." Lyra's breath caught at those words. She rested her hands on her knees, glowing faintly, unsure what to do with the sudden warmth in her chest. Night fell across the station. The soft hum of machines filled the room. Lyra curled into the blanket again, but this time she didn't look afraid of sleeping. She looked peaceful. Before she closed her eyes, she whispered, "Good night, and thank you for today." Ryan glanced over from his workbench. "Good night, Lyra." As she drifted to sleep, the apartment lights softened again, as if responding not to fear this time, but to safety, comfort, and the gentle hope growing inside her. Ryan watched the quiet glow around her and felt a strange certainty settle in him. Letting her in had not just changed her life,